Hey guys, it's Felix back here with another video. Today I decided to make a little tips video. So I'm gonna be going over 10 Scratch tips that will really help boost your workflow and speed and overall. Right, this will really help in debugging and all those type of things. Alright. So yeah, so this will help you a lot with certain things. So my first tip here I have is Scratch add-on. It's a Chrome extension by GriffPatch, and there's a bunch of features. Alright. So basically it's a Chrome extension by GriffPatch, and a bunch of features are by other Scratchers. GriffPatch made a couple features but not many. So here we have the settings. My first main thing I love is the pause button. I mean, there's a little pause button at the green flag. That's really helpful. That's very useful. So then it pauses projects in Scratch. Another thing is 60 FPS mode. Alright, that's amazing because you can Alt and then click the green flag to toggle that. So right now I set to default 60. Right, you can change the FPS to whatever you want. And my absolute favorite is block switching. Alright, so basically if you right click, right, then you can switch a block. Say you had an if but you want to do an if else, or like you're copying the code, like you copied the code and pasted it, but then now you have to switch it to an if else. Right, before you would have to drag the code out, you replace the block, put it in. Right now you can just right click and click to related blocks. It's very, very helpful. And there's lots of features. So many, right? So many features. There's actually a lot. So that's that. Next is the forums. Alright, so Scratch add-ons has a little feature that allows you to go to forums, but basically it's just scratch.mit.edu/discuss. So what the forums is basically a way to talk about your Scratch projects, right? So it's like welcome to Scratch. So there's some stuff right here. If you need help with Scratch projects or making anything about Scratch projects here, about Scratch itself right here, interest beyond Scratch over here, and then Scratch around the world. So yeah, this is that. It's very helpful in case you need help. So all you have to do is go to scratch.mit.edu/discuss, or there's actually a button. There's actually a way to do that. Just like search up forums inside the Scratch add-ons, and you will be able to get a button over here, above here. It will say discuss. I just changed it to forums, but yeah. So yeah. So now let's get into the editor. All right. So now we are in the editor. So there's actually like things that you can do when you right click, right? Because this is tip 3, alright, and this will be right click menus. So when I right click, or on Mac like 2-finger click, we have some stuff right now. We can only do add comment. So basically that allows you to like add a comment, so you can kind of remember things. Alright, you can minimize it, you can resize it, you can completely just delete it. Let's just, I don't know, get a block or something, like, I don't know, forever loop. You can add a comment to that, like hi, so it connects it to the block. You can duplicate, so you can copy whole strings of code, and you can delete block. Alright, that basically is cutting that specific block. Yeah, so you can do a lot, like, see, like, same thing with here, right? But I don't know, like, one green flag click, wait 1 second. Now you can either undo, right, there's that option to undo. You could redo, like undo and then redo. You can clean up blocks, so say there's some, like a block right here, clean up blocks will kind of structure the blocks a bit. And you can delete all blocks, right? It will give you like, are you sure? And you can click OK, and you will delete all blocks. That's for this area, but if say you go into costumes, right? It doesn't really do anything. You can't really right clicking doesn't do anything at all. But if you right click on sprite, then you can duplicate it and you get extra sprite. with the exact same code, costumes, everything. Alright, you can export it, right? So that's an interesting feature. So it exports into a very specific file for Scratch itself, alright? And so then you can click on choose sprite, and then you can do upload sprite, and from there you can upload sprites. So that is a useful little tool. Sound, you can't really do anything either in that, but it's, there. So those are the right-click menus. Let's go on to tip 4, which is how to get back a sprite. So let me just make a new sprite, right? I don't know, surprise. Alright, so say, I don't know, when we do one space key press dot next costume. Alright, and just, I don't know, import and go. Alright, this is very important code. Maybe this runs the whole game. Alright, and then you accidentally just delete it. Okay, well, now you just lost it. That's sad. But if you want to get it back, right, you can't do undo. That's only for that. But you can do edit and click restore sprite. And then now we got the code back. Everything just is back, right? So we get everything back. So everything that was there the whole time, you get it back. So that's very useful. Like, say the main bit of code, the main sprite gets deleted, you can easily restore it just like that. Turbo mode. So turbo mode is a very useful feature. It basically makes Scratch run much faster. I won't say it reduces lag. In fact, it will increase lag. It just runs the scripts much faster, right? Say it's like say you have a drawing thing, right? Say you're drawing and going to every single point. It's kind of doses points, almost teleporting, almost, right? So to do that, you can click on you have to hold Shift and click on the green flag, and it says turbo mode, and we're gone, right? Turbo mode gone. Another way to do that is edit and then turn on turbo mode, right? Turn off turbo mode. That's mainly for mobile if you are on that. Tip 6 is importing files. So I just showed you how to import a sprite, with upload sprite. Oh yeah, also you can upload GIFs, things like PNG files, things like that as a costume. But upload sprite will do, if you export it and upload like that file, it'll have code inside of it. You can upload costumes as you want. Alright, you can upload files into there. SVG files are the best because if you're not using bitmap, you're using the vector, right? And that's scalable vector graphics or SVG files. They come in very high quality, so that's best if possible. Alright, but it will standard to this default is bitmap, right? If it's not SVG, then it will instantly do bitmap, which then kind of cuts down on the quality of your image. Sounds, you can upload sounds as well. So yeah, you can upload many things, and if file, right, you can load from a computer. You can load a whole Scratch project from a computer. Now we have run without screen refresh. Alright, so this is tip 7. So what exactly is run without screen refresh? So we have to go into my blocks, right, make a block. We have this little option here. So we'll do test, I don't know, and do run without screen refresh. So I don't know, let's import the pen sprite. It's easiest to show that with the pen sprite. So pen down, and then now we wanna go to 0, 0, and then change Y and change X, I don't know, but like 3, and then we do a green flag clicked forever, and then you want to run that bit of code. Whoops. Right now, we're not exactly doing anything. Okay, wait. All right, we're going to the 0, 0. All right, so now it's like that. And oh, well, sometimes it depends on what the code is. All right. So now if we remove from that screen refresh, it should. Okay, no, it does the exact same thing. But basically, let me just give a different example. Okay, so it's not exactly useful for going around, but like, say you wanna, I don't know, move one step, turn 15 degrees, right, constantly with the pen down. Then we would just spinning like that. It's very slow. Okay, let's just do 5 steps. All right, it's taking some time. Well, no, let's just do, I don't know, 100 steps. Whoops, that's a bit much. 50. All right, you see, it's actually drawing. And let me just erase all. Right, let me just go ahead, erase all. Start it. You see, it drew for a second, right? It had to actually draw for that 1 second. All right. People have like much longer. So now when I enable run that screen refresh, all right, it should basically just pop it up. All right, well, it didn't, but there's things where people do. All right, it's basically to run code at a much faster pace. All right, it's kind of like a mini turbo mode, so it doesn't exactly like see. It's kind of moving a little faster, right? It's actually a little laggier now because we're on screen refresh is on. But say do that and click on the green flag. Now it's very slightly, but yes, slightly slower. It's a little difficult to demonstrate. You kind of have to just kind of know it, right? I just got a great idea. So basically, what you could do instead of like cloning, right? Just like cloning. So go to random position and I don't know, create a clone of myself. All right, and do this forever. So when green flag clicked, all right, test. Actually, no, this is gonna make it really laggy. I'm just gonna do repeat. It's gonna, I don't know, 10 clones. All right, 10 clones. That's what we want. So right now, run that screen refresh is off. So I will do that. Right, it took that time to load. Now round that screen refresh on. Erase all. Control. Okay, well, so now do that, right? Look at that, it's instant, completely instant each time. That is the magic of roam that screen refresh. So on the correct things, it is helpful, right? Like the last 2 examples, they're perfect examples of what happens when you don't use something correctly, right? So that's why I didn't cut them all. Perfect examples of how sometimes things mess up. So now, whoops. Now I want to talk to you about tip 8. It's a collision script, alright? So this helps quite a bit. If you actually noticed, sprites can't go completely off screen. But a little part of them, right, like around half of them can go off screen, alright? And say your game involves something that you want to make sure it never goes off screen, there are ways to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead, quickly set something up, and be right back. I'm back. So what I have done is I have made a black backdrop over here and a box with no code. So first we want to get moving, alright? So to do that, I'm just gonna quickly get my movement block, and yeah, then let's go. Alright, so now I have my movement block. This will allow me to move in the directions that I please. So then I can just go ahead. I'll link this down in the description so that you can also use it. Whoops, sorry there. So let's do 10, negative 10, negative 10, and 10. So we move 10 pixels each time, right? So right now, I'm just making a collision script, alright? Right now, you can go through, and you can also, again, have most of your scriptness, most of your spriteness and go out of the screen. Right now, I'm going to teach you how to prevent this. So you don't need any code in the box, actually. Actually, I'm just going to quickly make this a lesser value. But you actually don't need any code in the box. The only code you need is in sprite 1 or whatever your main sprite is. So in this will allow you to then easily move. So what we want to do is we want to make a custom block, alright? The reason we can't just use a regular regular scripts and like the reason we have to make a custom block is because we need to do the run that's from refresh, right? Like I told you a little bit before. Because if we don't, then people will see a little weird. I'll show you. But basically, first we want to make a sprite, and then you want to go all the way in, all right, and put a very small little dot, the color of a background, all right, just incredibly small. Right, it's actually right here. Yeah, okay. So it's so small that I can't even grab it. Now we want to put it in the center of our box. So right now my box is completely centered and it's at 0, 0. So here we have a completely centered thing. So what we want to do is when the green flag is clicked, we want to make it near invisible, alright? So set ghost effect to 99, alright? If you play my Among Us game, I'll put it down in the description below. There's actually kind of like a starry backdrop, alright? There's actually a whole black sprite on top of that. Just the ghost effect is 99, so we can't even see that. So what this is this is a focuser, right? This allows our sprite to focus onto something really quickly, so it knows kind of which direction to go. So we want to make a collision script, alright? If you use this, please give credit to me. So what you can do is, I don't know, call it whatever. And we want to make sure run wrap screen refresh is ticked. Click OK. So now we can define this. So what you want to do is you want to repeat until, alright? So go to control, the repeat until. So we're going to continuously do this until we're not touching the box. So repeat until not touching the box. So we have to go to operators and get a not, and sensing, and touching box. Alright, you can use whatever you want, but for this script only works with boxes because triangles and all that then get diagonal. It still works, but not as smoothly and perfectly as you want to. So we want to really quickly point towards the focus, so that way we know exactly which direction to go. Alright, you want to move 1 pixel in towards the center. Alright, so basically what we're trying to do is when we hit, right, we want to go 1 pixel to the center, but we don't know exactly where we're going to be. So we want to have a point where we focus, move 1 pixel, and then you want to point back in whatever direction you were. Alright, you can store that in a variable if you're like changing direction a lot, but right now I'm not, so I'm just going to point it in direction 90. And now we need a little bit of more code. Alright, when green flag clicked, so basically we want to get when green flag clicked forever. Alright, so now we're constantly checking if, alright, if we are touching this box, right, then we want to start activating this code until we're not touching this box, right? So then we just want to do collider. Alright, so let's go ahead, test this out. Alright, look at that, I'm perfect. Alright, it's completely perfect to my project. Right, like it's of course doing it to the whiskers because that's technically part of the thing, but yeah, it's perfect. Alright, now I want you to see what happens when I don't do it without screen run without screen refresh. Alright, so I restart the code. Now this just doesn't work. Alright, because lag and all that. Right, we're not running fast enough for it to do it. Right, see, it's slowly dragging us back in. Alright, and once we get out, we're free. So this is great if you want to slowly kind of drag people back in, but it's not amazing like that. So you want to, again, always make sure that you have run with that screen refresh on, so that way it runs the code fast enough for us to do this. Now we can still go out of the edge. Alright, so let me just hide this. Alright, now we will be able to go free. We can still go out of the edge. Alright, so now you can change the box to edge, right? Change both boxes to edge. So now click on the green flag, and look at that, it's working on the edges as well. Alright, perfectly aligning. It doesn't matter what your sprite is shaped as, but this is again only for squares, perfect squares, or rectangles. If you do triangles or circles, then it kind of gets a little messy. Let me just quickly show you. I'll put it back to the box. Get the box out, and delete this. Put in a nice circle, bigger. Alright, so now we have a circle. Wait, it's a little too small actually. So let me just quickly enlargen it. Alright, so now we have a nice circle. So what will happen is it will probably, well, in my experience, it has gotten out a little bit. Apparently not with circles. But I think it gets out with triangles. I'm not exactly sure, right? Because my friend, he used this script. His square wasn't perfect, and because of that, it wasn't perfect. Let me go ahead and try this triangle. Not a perfect triangle, but still a triangle. Yeah. So this should up. No, yeah, we're kind of glitched out now because the triangle's a little too small. Oh yeah, also here's another good feature about this, is that say somehow they go in the editor and like get themselves out, if they ever touch whatever you don't want them to get out of, then they kind of get sucked back in. Oh, well, yeah, as you can see, there's some bugs with the triangle, right? But I guess for circles and squares, you can do it. So it's a very good script, right? So basically, when touching anything that you want to kind of contain it in, it's great. Or just a simple collision script, alright? So like, you don't even have to like contain, right? Say it's touching something, and you want to go into at a certain, like, go towards a certain place, right? Say there's a little pillar right here, and when you touch it, right, you want it to go a little that way. But if you touch it this way, you still want it to go a little bit that way. Then you could use this script. This is a very simple script. It's not like super advanced, but it's a nice script. Let's go on to tip 9, which is backpack. So you've probably noticed this thing called backpack. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to basically take code from one of your other projects. Say you've had a bit of code in one of your other projects, right? You can then drag that into your backpack, or a whole sprite even, costumes, sounds, right? Anything, right? Into the backpack, And then if you need to use it in another project, just pop it out and it'll be good to go, right? So right now I got a lot of stuff, but yeah. Tip 10 is gonna be animated thumbnails. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set up and be right back. We can also do animated thumbnails with this little tool. So for one way you can do it is Scratch add-ons, right? You can just, there's a button that says upload thumbnail. You could do it that way, or you could also do this using JavaScript, right? Of course you don't need to actually do any JavaScript. Basically all you have to do is save a bookmark. So basically what you gotta do, you gotta make a bookmark, alright? You gotta add page, and then you can name it whatever you want, and basically you replace the URL with the code in the description below, and then you should be able to save, alright? So then when you do save, all you gotta do is click on it, and now you can select an image, alright? Now you can select images or drag or drop anywhere on this page, right? And that also includes GIFs, allowing you to do animated thumbnails. Of course, your thing will not be front paged, meaning you cannot like get it in the front page. You can't get it in search results. So that basically, because it marks as not for everyone. That's a little issue, but unfortunately it does. Alright guys, since you have been listening to me so patiently, I decided to do a bonus tip. This is actually creating or saving projects offline. So as you know, to use Scratch you have to have an internet connection because it's a website, right? But there is an offline editor. So right now I'm at the download page of Scratch. I'll link it down in the description. So basically, when you get to it, it detects your OS, alright, and right now mine is Mac, so it automatically tries to put it in that, right? But if it's wrong, then you can just kind of click on whichever one you want. So basically, you can download a Scratch editor, alright? You can download Scratch editors, so that is kind of cool. But how do you get your projects to and from, right? Because for one, you can't sync your account to there because again, it's an offline editor. It's all offline, no cloud variables. You can't do any of that, but you can edit offline stuff. So to do that, what you want to do, you want to have a project, alright? So let's just wait for that to load. And then you can click on File and save to your computer. This will save as a .sp3 file for Scratch 3.0, and then you can upload that from File, load from your computer, alright? But when you're editing in the editor, it won't automatically rewrite that file, alright? So when you're done with that file, you actually want to save that new file, alright? So once you're done editing that, you want to get a new file because it does not save, so just be aware of that. Now, this is great and all, but this also causes a little lag, right? Because there's still chances for lag when you're using an offline editor, right? So you just want to play a Scratch game offline, right? Then there are ways to do that. So I actually have an Among Us game. I'll put it down in the description. So in the description, right, I tell you how to do it, right, and play offline. So what you want to do is you go to this site right here, right? So that site is a site that allows you to basically download offline, like basically download HTML from Scratch. So now you can download an offline version, alright, so that way you can, so basically you can download an offline HTML file, right, so that's also pretty cool. So what you want to do, alright, you want to go to your project, and you want to get the project ID, alright, so that's right, so it says scratch.mit.edu/project/ a long number and then another slash, right? So what you want to do is you want to copy that ID, or you can just do the plain URL in case you can click here, but I just like to do ID, so for me it's just easier. And then, like project name, right? So, like on Scratch, right? If you go to the very beginning of Scratch, right? This is like Scratch, create, design, create, something like that. So then, like at the top of the tab, right? There's a title. So you want to change it to whatever you want. Let's just do Among Us on Scratch, yeah. Username value. So, as you know, there's a username block, right? So this is asking like, okay, what do you want the username to be? Alright, so please guys, always put in your username. Alright, for two reasons actually. One is that like some games have like a ban list or something, so if you're asking for a wrong username, you might download a banned version. And like some people also like do like little extra things for like people who helped, right? Like in my games, if you help me in something, I will give you extra benefits and all that, right? And those are all based off of username, so you can technically like cheat that way, but I highly request you not to. So in that sense, I just want you to put your own username. Compatibility mode. So what that does is Scratch has a limiter of 30 frames per second. Now, if you disable that, it allows it to run at 60 frames per second, which isn't always good, right? Like in my platformer, it makes the whole game run way too fast, and it didn't exactly work out. So you can decide on that. Now, you can choose to enable turbo mode or not. I explained that to you a little bit before in this video. The tab icon, so on Scratch, right, the tab icon is that, it's the orange S with the white outline, right, and it says right next to the title, right, so that's, if you want, you can choose a file, otherwise it'll just do like a default, like without any tab icon. The background image, alright, black bars, what it means by that, background image, so you can't, it doesn't exactly always fit, alright, like sometimes it's a little smaller on this screen, it's smaller, so then they're just black, right, the background is black. You can choose the background if you want. A loading progress bar, I actually like that, because like if you don't have a file uploaded, in the center it has like a number with basically all the assets, right, and then it loads all that like in front of your eyes, so you see how much is loaded. If you do an image file, that loading screen gets moved down to like the bottom here, and then that little file that you chose will be displayed as well. Immediately on load, right? So basically, do you want instantly start it on load, or do you want to like press the start and stop button to do that? Full screen buttons, I recommend keeping it. I mean, it's because then it makes it more like Scratch, right? And it's just better to have full screen buttons and also including start stop buttons, alright? So that way you can start, stop, full screen, like all the stuff that you can do in Scratch. Now you can also stretch the stage to fit. That's not always recommended, because then it kind of just stretches the whole thing, which is a little weird, but that's, if you want, you can do that. Or you can also stretch the loading image, right, so that way it also fits. Maintain aspect ratio, alright, that basically means just maintain it at Scratch's size, right, Scratch's default size. A zip file, right, if you want to like do like a zip file, then you can do it that way. That's more for developers, and like that's very much more complicated. And I can use a default mouse pointer, right, which is basically this mouse pointer right here. You can hide the cursor altogether, or you can use a custom cursor, right, basically you can choose whatever cursor you want, and lock the pointer on click. So basically if you click on it, right, it kind of locks the pointer for a while. So custom variables, right, so if you click on that, then the variables, like say if they're showing a variable, then the color will be this. If you unclick that, it's a translucent black, which I actually kind of like. But basically you can make it whatever color you want, right, it's all your choice. And then the text color of that variable. If you want, you can just hide the background color altogether. Cloud variable, so you want either save, so this allows this, so if say you're downloading a cloud variable, you can have two options. You can either save them locally on that file, or you can use a custom server, right? You can get your own server, and then you can like save it from there, and so it's actually on the cloud. or you can do certain variables, special behaviors depending on the name, right? Then you click on the for to see the names and all that. If you want, you can also make the player a custom size. You can load an unofficial extension, right, from a URL. And if you want, you could remove the clone limits, right? Because the clone limit is like 300. I think the list length is around 600. And then you can HTML file, and it will download as an HTML file quite quickly. So I'm not gonna download right now since I already have it downloaded. Then it just does that, and then it downloads. So basically, it just shows you all the stuff that it is. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So this way you can actually just like double click on that file, basically open that file, and it opens up in your browser as almost a website. It looks exactly like a website, and then you can play right in there. So it's useful for like that. And yeah, that's it. And this is all I have for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.